Hello Pisces, thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm going to use the Tarot Illuminati again by Eric C. Dunn. And for the supportive Oracle cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen. So if you want that information to find those decks or more information about those artists, there you go. Pisces. 2. That's okay. This is a weird feeling. Okay. I think this, I'm already looking at it really quickly, and I'm seeing, it looks like it's going to be really good. I feel like it's inner, like being an inner peace. I feel like somebody's kind of giving you a hard time. But I feel like you shouldn't, it's hard to not, but shouldn't let it affect you too much. Going right into this situation, I feel like this is about one of those moments that you spoke up and were like, it started off with a moment where you spoke up, but you really had a hard time doing it, is what I'm getting. It's kind of like, should I say anything, should I not? Or, you know, you were fighting to get it out and you finally did get it out. One of the two. It was hard to speak up. Either way, it was hard to speak up, but you did. I'm getting these two cards. I think that's the Princess. Yep, Princess of Swords, Two of Swords. I'm getting it was hard to speak up. You weren't sure you should. You weren't sure what you should do. You finally did say something. It could have been like through text or email. It doesn't mean you had to say this to somebody's face, but you did say something. There's a situation that was bothering you. Right or wrong, it just bothered you. And you were like, I have to voice this. At the very least, I need to start a conversation to deal with it, to get through it, something. You had to voice your opinion. And you did, is what I'm getting. I just feel like it was like you had to push it. Some of you were questioning if you should. Others of you just had to literally kind of force yourself forward and force yourself to say something. You weren't sure if it was going to have a good or bad effect. I think that's, as a Pisces, I think this is true for a lot of Pisces, but you can let me know in the comments. It's like, if you're going to say something or, you know, make a moment uncomfortable, you want to make sure it's worth it. You're not looking just to make discord, just to make a situation rough. Like, you want to make sure it's worth it. You're like, is it just going to be like it's an uncomfortable moment and then it's just uncomfortable from there on out? Or are we going to have some type of result from that that's worth it? And I feel like it was hard when you did. You got, what does this one say? Impatience. Reversed. In isolation. When I'm feeling this, when you say something, when you do push it forward, you're like, I gotta say something. One way or another, you force it forward. The other side, it's there. Like they have to absorb it in some form. Reading it, hearing it, something. They have to absorb it, but I'm seeing them kind of sit on it. With isolation and the impatience reversed, you want a response. You do want a response. My nose is itching again. You want a response, but it's not happening. And you're like, all right, I finally said something. I pushed it forward. There's a lot of like irritating energy. Like I'm noticing my face is itching like crazy. Like my whole head is itching. It's like it's coming out of nowhere. It was like really like you want to do something about it, but you're like, I don't know what to do about it. They weren't responding, and you're like, all right, I can't keep pushing. I know they heard it. I know they saw it. Either that or you sent like an email and you're like, at some point they will read it if they haven't yet. And you have to wait for them to respond. It's like one of those things where you're like, I can't just keep pushing it. I have to see what happens next. Because how they react sets up the next phase or the next moment. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like, oh, you got to listen to me. You got to do this. You're not about that. You're just kind of like, all right, I know you're going to hear it at some point or you're going to respond to it at some point. I need to know what your true... I need to know what this person's truth is. And they're sitting on it. The impatience reversed is telling me you really, really want an answer, you're just not getting it. Things go into this weird energy where after this, like this person definitely heard you, but they're kind of just kind of redirecting the focus. The enlightenment reversed is telling me like they didn't really want to hear it. I don't feel like it was received willingly. Like they weren't, whatever you said to them, either they didn't want you to say that, or they didn't want to hear anything at all, one of the two. They probably wanted your input, but they wanted you to kind of agree with what they felt, and you didn't. And now they're just kind of like, I don't know what to do with you. And they're just kind of putting the focus somewhere else. Let's just do these other things. Like I don't feel like they agree with you. But they don't want to make it an issue at this point, but they don't agree with you. And this goes on for a little while. I'm getting like they start dropping hints about how they actually feel after this. It kind of goes into like this is a weird time in my opinion. Like they don't agree with you. They don't want to have a direct conversation about it. They're kind of like trying to sweep it under the rug. They're also, as time goes forward, they're trying to like drop hints like that they don't agree with you and they're staying the same course, and that they're almost like they're dropping hints like they want you to agree with them. I don't think you are, though. I feel like you know what you said. You meant what you said. That's why you pushed it forward. You're like, I have to say this because this is truly how I feel. The mysticism really makes me feel like they're dropping hints that they don't agree and they want you to go their way, but I also feel like at the same time they're giving in. How are they doing that? That seems really strange to me. It's kind of like, it's like if we're going to make it really, really simple, like if you're going to go to lunch today, you want to go to this restaurant, they want to go to like this food truck. They're dropping hints that's what they want to do. Yeah, they're also kind of like, well, what time you want to leave for the restaurant at the same time? Which is really confusing to me. Like, it's really strange. Like, they're making it clear that they don't want to go, but yet they're still kind of asking you what time were we leaving? It's really weird. It's kind of like, it's weird. It's like they're going your way, but they're dropping hints that they don't want to. But I feel like you're dealing okay with this. You've got the Sun card with the wheel, which is telling me the fact that they're going your way on this situation, they're dropping hints that they don't want to. This seems to fit. If you really know this person, especially, you're like, well, that's kind of how they kind of move through these things. You never thought that they were just going to, you never thought they were going to turn on a dime. You never thought that would happen anyway. So the fact that they're kind of breaking down and giving in, but you're still saying what they want to do at the same time, you're like, well, if there's going to be any change, that's how it's going to happen. And to you, this is a win. And you're just kind of like, now I just got to hold to it and wait it out. And you're realizing that. They have a weird energy. There's a very strong earth energy here with them. And they care about you. They do like you. They do like you. That's like the deciding factor here. I feel like they like you in some respect. And these two cards are showing up in the environment. The Queen of Pentacles upright, the King of Pentacles kind of like blocking. It's like they're blocking themselves. They're kind of moving forward, that they're also kind of fighting themselves at the same time. They seem to understand how much this means to you, and they're fighting it, yet they're still moving along with it. It's really kind of, it's slightly contradictory, but for you, I feel like you're standing in a position, you're like, I understand why this is happening this way. I'm understanding that they're kind of giving in slowly by slowly, but they're fighting themselves at the same time. So they're kind of like they're like going forward and pushing back at the same time, but you see where it's coming from. You're like, they're trying to give in to me as much as they can, but it's going to be slowly by slowly. They're literally fighting themselves moving forward. And you just kind of have to hold back and just kind of let them go through what they need to go through. The fact that you said something, the way you said it, they understand like it means a lot to you. Like you didn't just haphazardly just say something off the cuff just for the fun of it. You said it because you really, really needed to, and it really, really bothers you. So, like really, really, you know what I mean? It's very important to you. Let's just cinch it up that way. More is coming forward. I'm getting like this is more going your way. It's moving forward slowly, but you're seeing it turn. You're feeling better about how it's turning. You're like, this is the way I need this to go. But I also feel like as it keeps going forward, like this other person is saying that it's almost like they're coming forward even more in a passive-aggressive way. Like, all right, we're going here. Like, even on the trip there, like, on the trip to the restaurant, like, I really didn't want to do this, but I guess if we have to. Like, that's coming out of their mouth. Like, they're saying, I really didn't want to go to this restaurant. I'd rather have just done that. But whatever. I guess we're here now. It's really strange. The farther they go ahead, they keep going the same direction, but they're being more vocal about it. It's really interesting. But the problem is the guilt. I feel like it's going to bother you. These, like, sideways comments, these comments that, like, really are, they're kind of bothering you. And it's kind of making you feel bad. Like, the guilt is there. The guilt, like, feeling guilty about moving forward. Feeling guilty almost about putting it out there. Because you're seeing the change, but this person is becoming more and more verbal about not liking it. It's really interesting in the sense of, like, they are doing it. They are making the change for you. But they're complaining about it, like, the whole way. It's kind of like going on a road trip with someone and, like, they wanted to take an SUV and you're like, well, the car is cheaper. We don't need all that space anyway. Let's just take the car. And they're like, I guess if you want to. And the whole way complaining, like, I can't move. I'm so cramped. I can't see over this. They complain literally the whole way. And it's like, and you're kind of like, I should have just gave in and spent the extra gas money for the other SUV, even though somebody else is using the SUV and really needed it. It's kind of like really weird. The whole way, they're complaining the whole way. I feel like they're complaining the whole way. If there's a way for you to do so, just disconnect from it, because I'm getting, just hold through. This is going to work out. It's almost like after the fact, it's for the best. What you want is good. The Ten of Cups is telling me everything is fine between you and this person. Just hold strong. Don't let these comments bother you. I'm getting it's really a good thing. I really do. I feel like for most of you, the whole point of this reading is to understand how this person works and to realize, you know, it's just like it's something they do to vent it out. If you can disconnect from it, like Pisces usually can find a way to disconnect from a situation emotionally. If you can do that here, you'll be okay. It's not bad. Nothing you did here was bad, is what I'm getting. Nothing you did here was bad. It's disconnecting from the guilt and just not letting it seep in. You know what I mean? For some of you, it could result in an argument, is what I'm getting, because you might get really aggravated. For others of you, it'll just kind of bother you and make you feel bad about the situation when you shouldn't really feel bad about it at all. It's stepping back and realizing this is what this person does when they're having a hard time accepting a change. They just keep pushing and they just keep pushing, and it becomes more and more difficult to deal with them because they're really just, I just feel like they can't help themselves. But if you can just disconnect and maybe not listen as closely, or like, hey, how about we listen to the radio? We can listen to anything you want, you know, whatever makes you happy. Turn on their favorite music so that they can just jam out to it, and maybe it won't be a big deal. I'm getting, there's nothing here you should feel guilty about. If you can step back and realize this is just them coming to peace with the situation and letting, it's their version of letting it go, even though it's driving you crazy, I think you'll be okay. This person, I don't feel like their motive is to drive you crazy. I just feel like this is naturally what they do to come to terms with moving forward in a way that they don't really want to, but is still a good way to move forward. Kind of like the car versus the SUV. It's not bad, but that's not what they wanted, and they just need to kind of vent it out and let it go, and that's how they do that. And just to disconnect from it. Just disconnect from it. You'll be fine. All right, I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.